What about the people out there who think it's sort of yuppie to go with loafers and no socks or gym shoes and no socks during the summer?
I think they're probably doing a great deal of harm to their feet. We feel that the foot actually needs protection from the shoe itself, let alone from the surface that we walk or play upon. The sock not only protects you from the friction forces, but it also helps keep the feet cool and dry by absorbing moisture and moving it off of the foot to the shoe upper. So I think you're probably looking at people that are rather uncomfortable, even though they might think they look good.
Now, Martina and Dr. Richie, where can people pick up Thorlo socks? Is it at your regular store? I mean, where can we buy these things?
Where you buy shoes, usually they sell socks, sporting goods stores, pro shops. Apparently now even some doctor's offices prescribe them because they've been helpful in preventing blisters for diabetics. And for a diabetic to get a blister can be life-threatening because it develops into ulcers and can cause some serious damages. So now doctors are actually prescribing them as well.
Well, that's sort of shocking. I mean, Dr. Richie, socks actually have that much to do with affecting your health?
Yes, it's interesting. There have already been several studies published in reputable medical journals showing the benefits of these specially patented socks to prevent damaging lesions in diabetics, which may in effect prevent amputations and prolong the life of these people.
Now, Martina, how has it affected your tennis game?
Well, I know I have not had any problems with my feet in the last 11 years, and that's when I started wearing the socks. Nowadays it's essential because we're playing mostly on hard surfaces, so there is that much more pounding and friction. And I know my feet, if you want to see them, I'll show them to you, are a lot better looking than the other tennis players. Most of their feet look like ballet dancers. They're all scrunched up and have a lot of calluses and blisters. And most players have problems with their feet, have them taped, etc. I have no such problems, and I attribute a lot of that to the socks that I've been wearing.
Now, if I could touch on tennis for just a quick second. Dealing with tennis and you and, of course, your career, what's next? What's coming up? Where would you like to be in 5 years?
Here, somewhere.
Still playing, I assume.
Still, well, playing professional tennis, probably not. But, of course, if you had asked me 5 years ago would I still be playing, I would tell you probably not. So I'm not a soothsayer. All I know is right now I'm healthy enough to still be competitive physically and mentally. So I'm enjoying myself and have a blast when I still can play at this age. It's a privilege to still be out there beating up on these youngsters. Sometimes they beat up on me.
Now, you've become a celebrity in your own right. Do you hope to one day, be that commercial spokesman and do movies or this or that, or even late night TV? Who knows?
There is no telling what I'll end up doing. I think I would like to do some commentating, sports, tennis mostly, and other sports. I think I could do a good job, and I would be interested in doing that. It would be fun. But right now I'm just too busy trying to make sure that I'm fit enough to compete and play tennis.
Now, Dr. Richie, you've also been quite in the public with this. You've made talk shows in Chicago, San Francisco. You've been on L.A., Philadelphia. What's it been like for you?
Well, I've enjoyed getting out and sharing topics of what I would consider consumer interest about footwear products and ways that people can enhance their overall health by paying attention to their feet. I think there's some glaring issues that need to be dealt with in the area of foot health, things as simple as the fact that most people go into a shoe store and never even bother to ask to have their feet measured before they buy a pair of shoes. And it's incredible to think of the potential people could realize in terms of foot health and foot comfort if they would simply have their feet measured before they buy shoes. 80% of the people in this country, or the women particularly, are suffering from chronic foot pain simply because they are wearing improper shoes.
Do you think it hurts it, especially since we're getting these, shoe factory outlets where people just go in, they buy the shoes, and there is no, sit-down measurement or people to help them?
Barry, it's really not just the outlets. I think you'd be surprised to find that even the high-end shoe stores do not routinely measure feet of their customers. And the reason for that is that a lot of people assume that once they're a size 8, they will always be a size 8. And they don't realize that the foot is a dynamic structure that's always changing, and that all of us experience an increase in shoe size as we get older. So I think we need to recognize that and continue to get our feet measured and our shoes fitted properly with the right sock that's padded and fit to the shoe.
Now, dealing with Thorlo again, Do they have different? Not of course they have different sizes, but what about different colors or styles, or is it just one sock? Or
Well, Thorlo has developed a lot of different socks for different activities. They have socks for cycling, for jogging, for tennis. They also have an outdoor line for trekking and backpacking. The fibers of the socks are varied depending on the type of activity the sock is going to be used for. The density of the padding varies. Of course the colors vary, but that really doesn't have a functional value. There are even socks now developed for diabetic patients that are extra padded to prevent their feet from developing ulcers.
amazing. Martina, what about you? I mean, do you use these things personally when you're just out on the town? Are there socks made for everyday wear, other than just for specific?
Well, women's shoes or high-heeled shoes, you couldn't fit a sock that's padded because they're too narrow. So I alleviate that problem by either wearing cowboy boots or my running shoes. And in fact, I forgot to pack my little footies from my pretty shoes today, and don't have any socks at all because all I packed was Thorlos. I really wear that and nothing else. You will not find anything in my closet that's anything but Thorlos.
Now, Dr. Richie, what do you do for the woman who has a high-heeled shoe? I mean, is that going to hurt their feet eventually?
Absolutely. The first thing you do is you try to talk them out of it. And if they insist on wearing it, you look for a shoe that is fit to their foot in both the heel and ball. I think one simple recommendation is to tell the average woman in a high heel is to buy a shoe a half size bigger than what they currently wear. And in most cases, that will relieve some of the impingement of the shoe around their foot. Most people are reluctant to accept the fact that they need a bigger shoe for their foot. It's almost like admitting that you actually weigh 10 pounds more than you really do. We like to think we have small feet, and you have to recognize that you have a certain foot and a certain shoe size that fits that, and that's the way it is.
What if someone does wear the wrong socks and damages their feet? I mean, it's not like they can repair. I mean, is there some damage that is permanent?
I don't know that a sock can damage the foot. I think you can look at the sock as a preventive measure. Most foot problems can be prevented. That's the bottom line. I can tell you that today modern medicine does not have a good cure for foot problems, but we do have information that will prevent most foot problems, and that's where we need to start focusing our attention. And the prevention comes with the proper shoe fit and the proper sock matched to that shoe to provide an envelope of protection for the foot.
For my final question, now from Martina, what would the last thing you could say or sum up about Thorlo to the viewers?
Well, I think to anybody, for a tennis player, my livelihood is at stake if I don't perform because I have foot problems. But most people don't want to be uncomfortable either or have any injuries. And the best way to not get injuries is prevent them. People these days just worry about things once they start bothering them. But and doctors do that as well. I think for us, prevent that from happening. So try to cover all your bases and do the right things to begin with, and then chances are you will not get those problems.
I appreciate the time you both spent with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks again.